I'm going to try my hand today at making hoagie rolls. The method here is really different. The ingredients aren't that unusual except, well, 4 tablespoons of cold butter seems like quite a bit for a sub roll. So we'll see. But the method, where you put normally I just put the liquid and then I put the flour and put the yeast and salt on top of that. This is completely different. You mix the yeast and the sugar in the warm water, let it set for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you just put in just 2 cups of the flour, no salt, nothing else. And you mix that, and then you add in the salt and the rest of the flour, and then you add in the butter very last. So it's quite a bit different. And it wants a slack dough, which is, well, we'll show you what that looks like if it turns out right. This is what the yeast sugar water looks like after about 5 minutes. That would be a lot more interesting if I had a microscope, because, you know, living organisms there, the little yeast things. Anyway, now it says 2 cups of flour. It doesn't call for any whole wheat flour, but I don't like 100% white flour, so I'm going to put in one cup of bread flour and 1 cup of white wheat flour. And then I guess we mix that for 5 minutes. Although the recipe says to use a mixer with a dough hook, I would much rather use my bread machine, so we'll see if this works. This is what the dough looks like. I should call it a batter, actually. After 4 minutes of mixing, I'm going to poke down the sides there. And now we add the salt. And then it says a cup of flour at a time. So I'm going to add the salt, and then I'll add 1 cup of flour, and then we'll mix it again. Well, this is after mixing it for another about 4 minutes. And now this just seems so weird. Now I add the butter. It said the dough should be slack, and it feels slack to me. It's not dry, but in fact it might be past slack. It's sort of coming together into a ball. Let's see what happens. How and if it mixes all this cubed cold butter in. 3 minutes of mixing. I did mix it in, and now the dough is, yeah, I would call that slack. Well, jeez, that needs more flour. He keeps warning, if you add too much flour, the hoagies will be dry, but that's way too wet. Okay, I'm going to put in just a few tablespoons of flour, mix it again, and then I'll dump it in my bowl. It makes sense to me now that I think about it, why you mixed the flour and water and yeast first, and then added the salt, and then added the butter, to develop the gluten more. Once you put all that butter in, it's going to make the dough shorter, and the gluten strings not as long. So you develop those nice long gluten strings first, and all right, it says let it alone for an hour. That's what we're going to do. Checking on the dough after half an hour, and it is beautiful. It's really nice and soft. I'm kind of encouraged about this. Okay, the dough is ready, and it is a nice, slack, soft dough. Just to be sure that I have them even, I'm going to weigh them out. I looked it up, and it looks like hoagie buns are anywhere from 3 to 4 ounces. I think 4 ounces seems excessive. That's not going to be enough. Let's weigh this. My little scales, and it says this is, whoa, are you kidding me? That is 3.8 ounces. Well, maybe that is what I want to go with then. So just a little under 4 ounces. It says it makes 4 to 8. I don't know. Get these all weighed out. That one is 3.6. Throw a little bit more on, and it's, whoa, now it's 4.73. Not going to get the hang of this. Now it's 4. All right, we are going with 4 ounces, and I'll see how many that makes. The recipe specified, let me show you what these look like. Minimal handling, or they'll be tough. So I have to turn these blobs into something that looks like hoagie rolls, barely touching them at all. What do I have? I have 8 here, so 4 ounces each made 8. I guess just sort of fold them under a little bit, kind of roughly shape them. They're going to be ugly that way, but hopefully they will be tender and ugly instead of beautiful and tough. We'll go for that anytime. Get the rest of these done. Show you what they look like. Hey, this is what I ended up with. 4 over there, 4 over there, and a little baby one in the middle. And I'll see how big they get. Next time I might want to make them 3 ounces instead of 4 ounces. Now they have to rise about 40 minutes. I'll cover them with plastic wrap and a tea towel, and then we will bake them at 375 for, how long does it say? 16 to 23 minutes. A little over half an hour, because this is such a very soft dough. It doesn't take as long for it to rise, so put these in the oven. I'll check them after about 15 minutes or so and see what they look like. Okay, these look done, but just to be sure, it said they need to be 200 degrees, and they're 203. They got a little pudgy when they baked, so I think I'll make them 4 ounces again next time, but maybe stretch them out a little bit longer. Here's a little baby one, so you can see what it looks like on the inside. Yeah, these are feather light. Let's see what this tastes like. But yeah, those are really good. It said you could put some kind of an egg wash on it or milk wash, but I didn't really want them to get that crunchy on the outside. If I wanted crunchy hard rolls, I would do that. Since the shredded beef that I'd made and frozen and then thawed was Tex-Mex, I also used a Mexican cheese on top there. Stick these in the broiler and we will be done.